My name is Eric Brush, and today I wanted to talk to you about an interesting subject, namely fear. Fear is going to be the subject of this little video about sharks and what's going on in Western Australia, because it needs to be addressed that this is a propaganda ploy being used by the government of Western Australia currently in order to escalate problems for sharks and basically fill in their own agenda, and we're going to talk about that. So let's address some of these issues. First of all, the man responsible for this is Premier of Western Australia, Colin Barnett. And Colin Barnett is both a fearmonger and a liar. The man is very dishonest, and I will tell you why. I'm not just going to make an accusation and not back it up. Excuse me. Allow me to bear out some of the things that Mr. Barnett has lied about to the public. Now, these things were exposed in a 15-page report that went into key members of Parliament on March 2nd of 2013. This whole incident began, excuse me, began back in 2011 with 5 fatalities that occurred in Australia, which Mr. Barnett blamed exclusively on the white shark. But at any rate, let's go through the lies one by one. I have them listed here. I'm just going to read them off and I'm going to address them as we go. So the first one is white shark populations are increasing and therefore culling is okay. You know, I've spoken with other shark experts, I have spoken with biologists, I have spoken with researchers, some of the most reputable people in the world, people who know and work with white sharks all the time. In fact, I have some of the best experts in the world who I've talked with. And the agreement is the same. They may have a few different views on what the specific numbers are, but the agreement is the same between all of the experts, and that is that they have seen a population decline, a decrease. In fact, there is a fear that white sharks may already be genetically bottlenecked or genetically dead as a species. They've been around for a few million years now. This is a shark species that's been around for some time. Sharks overall have been around 430 million years. But anyway, this idea, this notion that there's an increase in population is pure baloney, and this is something that Mr. Barnett has used as a tool to press his legislation forward to attempt this Cull order, which is illegal, by the way, but we'll go into that later. Okay, white sharks and other sharks that linger near a beach pose an imminent threat to humans. What is an imminent threat? An imminent threat, according to Mr. Barnett, is that these sharks that are lingering near beaches, that are spending a little more time than he feels comfortable with at a beach, are obviously there to kill a bunch of people. They're attracted to us and they're going to kill us. Now, this is absolute nonsense. If that were the case, there would be tons and tons and tons of shark bite incidents. These sharks have plenty of opportunities to feed on us. The fact that sharks worldwide only feed on a relative, or not even feed on, but bite a relatively small amount of people every year is testimonial to how little they are interested in us. Imminent threat, that's just crazy and something used to generate fear in the population. That's right. The 5 fatalities in 2011 are all due to great white sharks. Now, I've talked to the people who actually worked with, did the investigations, and have examined the bodies of the 5 unfortunate victims. And in only 2 incidents was it probable that they were white sharks. The other 3 incidents were either tiger or bull sharks based on the dentition and the damage that happened to the person. Excuse me. And Mr. Barnett uses the white shark as the scapegoat, basically, to initiate his call, though he doesn't restrain it to just white sharks after he gets it going, but that's another matter entirely too. Let's see. White shark fatality encounters are on the rise in Australia. The only way that white shark fatality and fatal encounters are on the rise in Western Australia and in Australia period is if you look at a trend. And if you look at the trend, the only reason that you're going to see a spike is because for 2 years, in 2011 and in 2012, both of those years they saw an unusual amount of shark activity. Normally there are 1 to 5 fatalities worldwide every year from shark encounters. In those particular years there were quite a few shark encounters, in fact almost triple in one case and more than triple the next year. So if you look at an overall trend, you could say that there has been an increase. Now, this wasn't borne out in 2013. It hasn't been borne out since. Shark encounters have decreased, not increased, from those years. But because those years went up, if you look at an overall model, you could realistically say there's been an increase. It's more like a fluke, but okay, Mr. Barnett, thank you for scaring the public. Australia is the shark attack capital of the world. Really? Shark attack capital of the world. I don't know where Mr. Barnett gets this statistic. Certainly Australia has a lot more people in the water than in a lot of nations, because it is surrounded all the way around by water. I mean, it's logical to assume that you may have, statistically speaking, quite a few more shark incidents, but that's not always the case. Some years, this is Florida, where I live, is the shark attack, if you will. I don't like to use that word, but is the shark attack or shark encounter capital of the world. Some years it is South Africa. Some years it is India. There are a lot of different places around the world that experience a large number of bite incidents or accidental encounters between humans and sharks. And to generalize that just to scare the public is ridiculous. All right. Drum lines will help to protect the public. Really? That's nonsense. Drum lines do exactly the opposite. When you put drum lines out close to a public beach, what you're doing is you're ringing a dinner bell for sharks and other predators to come in and feed. What you're also doing is you're placing scent of prey into the water, and you're bringing sharks in closer to the public in a feeding response. You're actually attracting sharks to the public, and you're greatly increasing the likelihood of an accidental fatal encounter. So no, they're not helpful to the public. They actually harm the public. The next lie: the shark call is needed and legal. The shark call is not needed, as we've already went over. White sharks are actually protected by 14 laws in Australia, and there is no need to call an already threatened and endangered species. Attack incidents don't bear this out. All the experts don't bear this out. And as far as the legality, we've already covered that. When you're violating 14 national and international laws, and you're also violating the public safety law, general offenses of endangerment, which is what he's doing, and that's clearly proven by the use of drum lines, then no, it's not legal. It's not, Barnett seems to feel that there's only one law that he has to obey, and that's the EPBC Act, and he got his buddy Greg Hunt and Tony Abbott to it's temporarily setting aside the 2 provisions of the EPBC Act that protect white sharks, as if that's the only law that he's got to deal with. No, Mr. Barnett, there are also 13 other laws that you have to deal with, and that's just specific to white sharks. We're not even talking about laws that affect bycatch species. Next one. Public safety is their #1 concern. I think we've already borne that out. That is not their #1 concern. The main reason that Barnett and Norman Moore, who was also one of the initiators, though he's now retired, he's a former former Minister of Fisheries for Western Australia. The reason that they came up with this little, white shark cull was supposed to be as a public feel-good measure, and the idea was that they wanted to generate more tourist dollars to Western Australia. It always boils back down to the profit. If it was not profitable for them to do this, they would not be doing it. They're hoping to increase tourism, increase profitability to the state of Western Australia, and therefore line their pockets a little bit more as well, because they do. Don't think for a sec that these guys are not getting subsidies from when the state is doing better, that they don't get bonuses, that they don't get other things. It boils back down to what can they get out of it, not public safety, not public concern. Okay, their offices have received anonymous phoned-in death threats. I want you to think for a sec what any government office is like anywhere. I don't care where in the world you are. Public offices for the government have very elaborate phone systems. It is very easy for the government to find and trace you back. If you're making anonymous threats and phone calls to the government, they're going to know who you are. They may not catch you right that second, but they will find you. It doesn't take very long. This notion that they've had anonymous death threats phoned in to a government office repeatedly by the same people phoning in is just ridiculous. There have been no arrests. There's been nobody brought up on this, no accusations, other than to use this as a scapegoat policy for the WASC, which is Western Australians for Shark Conservation, and Sea Shepherds and other conservationists. The government, basically what they've done here is most likely have fabricated this whole thing and are using this as a ploy in which they can go ahead and then say, these conservationists are dangerous. Look at how dangerous they are. They're threatening the fishermen. They're threatening the government offices. They're throwing rocks when we live in a glass house. Damn it. The fact of the matter is that no, this is the government that's doing this. They're not being honest with you. And when we talk about honesty, this was supposed to be a call for white sharks. Only white sharks. It wasn't supposed to be for other breeds. Now they're killing everything. They're killing all kinds of sharks. Anything over 3 meters, they kill it. Which is the breeding population of females for sharks, but we'll get into that after a while. So anyway, it's just ridiculous what you're seeing from Barnett. He is pulling everybody's leg. He is trying to elicit a lot of fear in people, and it's just not going to fly. I'm going to go ahead and break this video down into 2 parts, so please stay tuned and come back in for the next part, and we're going to cover some of the other problems that we have with what's going on with Mr. Barnett and his fear-mongering. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Please support the shark call in Western Australia and contact officials, and if you see this video, do me a favor, share it. We want these videos to go viral. We want media, there's a media blackout right now that Barnett is controlling a lot of media sources in Western Australia. We want people to see this, to learn the truth about sharks and especially what's coming up. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be right back with you on the next video.